Imagine a superpower. You can walk through fire and feel nothing. You can shatter a bone and keep running. You can touch a hot stove, cut your skin, or step on glass, and your brain stays silent. For most of us, this sounds like a dream. We spend our entire lives running away from pain. We take pills to numb it. We fear it. We hate it. But for a tiny handful of people on Earth, this superpower is real. And it is not a gift. It is a living nightmare. This is the story of Gabby Gingras. When she was born in 2001, she looked like any other healthy baby. But 5 minutes after her birth, the nurses performed a standard procedure, the heel prick test. They took a needle and jabbed it into the bottom of her foot to draw blood. Usually, a newborn screams. It's their first instinct. Gabby just slept. The nurses told her parents, Steve and Trish, that she was just a very good baby. They went home thinking they had won the lottery. No crying, no fussing, just peace. But silence is dangerous. A few months later, Gabby started teething. Like all babies, she wanted to chew on things to soothe her gums. Most babies chew on a rubber ring. If they bite their own finger, they stop immediately because it hurts. Gabby didn't stop. Her parents walked into her room one morning and found a scene from a horror movie. Gabby had chewed on her own fingers until they were raw. She had chewed through her tongue like it was a piece of bubble gum. There was blood everywhere, and sitting in the middle of it all was Gabby, smiling. She hadn't shed a single tear. Doctors were baffled. They ran tests. They checked her reflexes. Everything seemed physically normal, but the signals weren't getting through. While they searched for a diagnosis, Gabby's own body became her worst enemy. The most terrifying incident happened with her eyes. You know that feeling when you get a tiny piece of dust in your eye? It is agonizing. You blink, your eye waters, and you rub it immediately to get the grit out. That pain is a reflex designed to save your vision. Gabby didn't have that reflex. When she got grit in her eye, she didn't blink. She didn't cry. Instead, she rubbed it, and she kept rubbing. Without pain to tell her to stop, she scratched her own cornea so severely that she was effectively blinding herself. Her parents had to take extreme measures. They bought swimming goggles from a sports store and forced her to wear them 24 hours a day. At school, at dinner, in bed. It was the only way to stop her hands from destroying her own sight. Eventually, doctors had to temporarily sew her eyelids shut just to let them heal. But the damage was done. She lost the vision in one eye completely. Finally, the diagnosis came in. It wasn't just high pain tolerance. It was a condition so rare that fewer than 100 people in the United States have it. It's called CIPA, Congenital Insensitivity to Pain with Anhidrosis. So what is actually happening inside Gabby's body? To understand CIPA, you have to understand how pain works. Think of your nervous system like a telephone line. When you touch a hot stove, the nerves in your hand, called nociceptors, pick up the danger. They dial the phone. The signal shoots up your arm, through your spine, and rings the phone in your brain. Your brain picks up, hears danger, and tells your muscle to pull back. This all happens in a fraction of a second. But for Gabby, the phone line is cut. CIPA is caused by a mutation in a specific gene called NTRK1. This gene is responsible for building the receivers for a protein called nerve growth factor. Without these receivers, the sensory neurons, the ones responsible for pain and temperature, die off before the baby is even born. Her brain is working fine, her skin is working fine, but the bridge between them has collapsed. She can feel pressure. She knows if you are hugging her, but if you stabbed her with a knife, nothing. No alarm, no reflex, no fear. And this leads to a philosophical question that Gabby's life forces us to answer. We think of pain as an enemy, but biologically pain is the only teacher we have. Without it, how do you learn? How do you know that fire burns? How do you know that gravity breaks bones? Gabby had to learn these things intellectually, like memorizing math facts. Fire equals bad, not because it hurts, but because her parents told her so. But the lack of pain isn't even the deadliest part of CIPA. The A in CIPA stands for anhidrosis. This means no sweat. And this is the silent killer. Sweating is your body's radiator. When you get too hot, your body releases water to cool you down. Gabby's genetic mutation didn't just kill her pain nerves, it killed the nerves that control her sweat glands. She cannot sweat. Not a single drop. Imagine a summer day. You're running around outside. You get hot, you sweat, you cool off. For Gabby, the heat stays trapped inside. Her internal temperature just keeps rising. 99 degrees, 102, 105. If her parents don't catch it instantly, her brain will cook from the inside out. She could suffer a seizure, enter a coma, and die within minutes. Her childhood wasn't just about avoiding sharp objects. It was about temperature control. She had to wear special cooling vests packed with ice just to go outside. While other kids played soccer in the sun, she had to stay in the shade, constantly monitored with a thermometer. But the danger didn't stop at temperature control. It extended to the nightly ritual of survival. Because she cannot feel pain, she cannot trust her own body. Every single night, Gabby had to undergo a full-body inspection. Her parents, and later Gabby herself, would scan her skin like a map, hunting for cuts, bruises, or blisters she didn't know existed. A simple splinter, if left unnoticed, could rot into a deadly infection overnight. And then there was the brutality of her own mouth. After the tongue-chewing incidents as a baby, doctors were forced to make a grim decision. They surgically removed her teeth. It was the only way to stop her from unknowingly cannibalizing herself while she ate or slept. To keep her alive, they effectively had to disarm her. One unnoticed fever could be the end. As Gabby grew up, the physical injuries were easier to manage. She learned to check her body for cuts she couldn't feel, but the psychological toll was harder to fix. How do you relate to other human beings when you cannot feel the one thing that connects us all? Empathy is built on shared experience. When you see someone stub their toe, you wince because you know that feeling. Gabby has never felt it. She describes feeling like an alien, an observer of the human condition, but never a participant. And physically, her body is paying the price. There is a condition called Charcot joint. Normally, when we walk a little weirdly or twist an ankle, we limp to protect the joint. Gabby doesn't limp. She keeps walking on microfractures day after day, grinding her bones into dust. By the time she was a teenager, her joints looked like those of an elderly woman. She has broken her jaw, her legs, her ankles. And often, she didn't know until she heard the sound of the bone snapping. Gabby Gingras is now an adult. She survived a childhood that statistics said she shouldn't have. But her story is a warning. We live in a world that is obsessed with comfort. We want to be numb. We want the easy way out. But look at the price of numbness. Without pain, there is no protection. Without pain, there is no limit. Without pain, the body destroys itself without even knowing it's dying. Pain is not a mistake in our design. It is the most advanced technology nature ever created. It is the alarm system that screams, "I love you," every time you bleed. It begs you to stop, to heal, to survive. So the next time you burn your tongue on coffee or stub your toe in the dark, don't be angry. Be grateful. It means your system is online. It means you are alive. If you want to uncover more stories about the dark glitches of the human experience, click the subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one.